She says, "Baby, lick me." Today we're talking about Insta poetry and Rupi Kaur's Milk and Honey. Now, when I decided to finally buy this book, on this side of the equator, everything was still closed. So, save the trees and buy an ebook. So, what's my review of this book? In all honesty, it's a good book. I don't regret buying this book. It's worth the money. But I wouldn't buy another one. I think I would most definitely give this book 3 stars, and that's me being generous. I did feel that this book really came from a place of hurting and breaking and creativity as far as the first 3 parts of her book go. But as we kind of get to the end, she was kind of losing me there, you know. I found that I liked her poems more on a level of relatability, and I guess that's what people like about it. I liked her poem on a basis of like, I understand this. I've been here before. This makes sense to me. And not of a place of, this just opened my life and made me look at something in a different light. And I guess that's not what everybody is looking for in poetry, but for me personally, that's really what poetry does for me. It helps me look at things from different perspectives and feel emotions that I may not have felt like before. And if I am buying a book just to see what I see on my Twitter TL, I'm not gonna buy your book ever again. However, I do think that Rupi Kaur's speaking engagements and when she performs, and she has good poetry is what I'm trying to say. It's not all bad. And I've seen bad Insta poetry, and this is not it. So, don't kill me, critics. Please don't come for me. The first couple pages of this book are better than the last couple pages, because I feel like in the last couple pages it did really get very regular conversation-y and not very creative. So you could have cut this book after the loving. Honestly, it would have been great. I think halfway was just it was just going to be a great book, and we were just going to love it even more. But there are people who loved this book even more, and maybe they loved it because they read the first couple pages, because nobody ever finishes books these days, and we know that you are not finishing those books. So don't lie to us, Amanda. Don't lie. There's a poem on page 155, and it says, "The next time he points out the hair on your legs is growing back, remind that boy your body is not his home. He is a guest. Warn him to never outstep. Warn him to never outstep his welcome again." And I really appreciate this, because boys need to be told their place. Thank you very much. Good night. And that was really the beginning of the book, and I was really feeling it. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, this girl is actually writing, and she's writing, and I'm liking it. And like, even the shorter poems in the beginning of the poem were really poetry type shit, no matter how short it was. Like, for example, on page 14 she says, "She was a rose in the hands of those who had no intention of keeping her." And I'm like, this had potential. You could have kept it going, but I understand why you just kind of left it there. But I really felt like once we got past the hurting and the breaking, we just kind of lost it a little bit. Anyway, one of my other favorite poems is on page 39. She says, "When my mother was pregnant with her second child, I was 4. I pointed at her swollen belly, confused at how my mother had gotten so big in such little time. My father scooped me. My father scooped me in his tree-trunk arms and said, the closest thing to God on this earth is a woman's body. It is where life comes from, and to have a grown man tell me something so powerful at such a young age changed me to see the entire universe rested at my mother's feet." And I think that is just a very sweet and powerful poem that she shares with us at page 39. So like I'm saying, she has such wholesome content in the beginning of the book, which just kind of fades out as we go through. to the rest of it. And so like I'm saying, she has like stuff like this in the beginning of the book towards like the ending, and then as we get to like towards 176, page 176, and this is towards the end of the book, we start getting stuff like, how you love yourself is how you teach others to love you. And I'm just like, who told you that? Because somebody told it to me, and they didn't read it in your book. So who told you that? I have a couple favorites in this book, and I noticed that a lot of my favorites when it comes to Rupi Kaur had to do with much of her longer pieces. And by longer pieces, I don't necessarily mean the big page or whatever. I just mean something that was more than 2 lines long and, you know, had a little bit of body to it. And then it's not to say that you can't give me a good poem that only has 3 lines, because you certainly can. But I really think that when you're an Insta poet, because of the simplicity of the language, you do get a lot out of me as a reader when you give me more than what sounds like my 4th grade teacher's advice to the entire classroom. So, next poem that I liked is on page 71, and I think this is one of the longest poems that you will find in this book. And it is titled How We Make Up. And Rupi basically just goes through the story where she tells us how she fights, or how she's fighting with her lover, and they go through it. I'm not going to read it all because it's just like super long, but I'll read the ending because why not? Anyway, she says, baby, lick me. Like your mouth has half the gift of reading, and I am your favorite book, your favorite page in a soft spot between my legs, and read it carefully, fluently, vividly. Don't you dare leave a single word untouched, and I swear my ending will be so good. The last few words will come running to your mouth, and when you're done, take a seat, because it's my turn to make music with my knees pressed to the ground. Sweet baby, this is how we pull language out of one another with the flick of our tongues. This is how we have the conversation. This is how we make up. And honestly, this is a toxic relationship, but it's a beautiful poem. I think I'm kind of blushing a little bit. The next favorite poem of mine was found 2 pages later in page 73, where I don't know what the name of this poem is, but it's on page 73, and it says, I always get myself into this mess. I always let him tell me I'm beautiful and half believe it. I always jump thinking he will catch me at the fall. I'm hopelessly a lover, a dreamer, and that will be the death of me. And I think round about this time, that's really when I started relating to Rupi's work, because I was just like, I mean, this is not really TL level tweeting. I mean, if I saw this tweet, I would probably retweet it. And also, can I just say that for a book that has over 200 pages, the fact that I only liked 14 of those pages has a lot to say about this book. But nonetheless, while I do get the critics and I do understand where they're coming from and tend to agree with a little bit of their criticism, they do lose me at the part where they don't want to name her poet, because I do think, like I said, she deserves a seat at the poet's table. She is, however, not the best Insta poet that I've heard of. However, she is better than some of the other people trying to sell us their poetry. And so if you made it to the end of this video, I really want to say thank you for sticking with me to the end. And if you've read a Rupi Kaur book, comment below which one you've read, and if you're looking forward to her new book, which I hear is coming out soon. Would you buy it, and why? Am I buying it? No, but I make no promises. And if you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to press that subscribe button, and if you're feeling generous, like this video so you can get more of content like this. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Rupi Kaur. See you next time. Bye.